Yes, good morning, learners, or good afternoon. This is Dr. Likin Olufumi Solomon from the Department of Political Science, the lecturer in charge of PO 111, that is, Introduction to Political Science. Under this course, we have different study sections, like about 9 different study sections. The first study sections will focus on the nature and the scope of political science, while study section 2 will deal with political science as a science or art. Study section 3 will deal with scope of political science. Study section 4 will deal with approaches to the study of political science. Study section 5 will deal with power, influence, and authority, while study section 6 will focus on the state, society, and the nation. Study section 7 will deal with forms of government. Study section 8 will focus on the Constitution and constitutionalism, while the last study section, not that this study section, because it's study section 9, will deal with political parties and prayer group. Now we'll start with the study section 1, which is the nature and the scope of political science. Let us now have the introduction. Politics is modern era is studied under political science, while political science is a discipline within the social sciences. The study of social sciences is concerned with the nature of human behavior in general. Other disciplines under the social sciences include economics, international relations, geography, psychology, and sociology. Now let us have the learning outcomes for this section 1. When you have studied these sections as a student, you should be able to understand the conceptualization of politics. 2, you should be able to explain some of the major reasons for studying politics. The conceptualization of politics. The word politica is derived from the Greek words, that is polis. Literally means a city-state. The ancient Greek society was divided into a collections of independent city-states, each of which possessed a system of government. Thus, politics can be understood and expressed in the context of the affairs and activities of the polis, or what concerns the state. The conceptualization of politics still continues. The earliest conception of politics is that which posits its activities having to do with the efficient organizations and judicious administrations of the collective affairs of an organized human community or polis. In this view, politics is to facilitate and secure a prosperous atmosphere in which everyone will satisfy their need and achieve full human potentials. These conceptions informed the thinking of ancient political thinkers such as Plato and Aristotle. These early views emphasizes what politics ought to be rather than what it actually is. The activities is having to with designing a structurally and functionally perfect human community that will promote justice and happiness for all citizens. According to David Easton, 1957, politics is the authoritative allocation of scarce value or resources. Let us put it that way. By this, politics includes the process through which government responds to demand and pressures from the society by allocating benefits, rewards, and penalties. Authoritative value are public goods. Resources are services that are widely accepted in society and considered binding by the mass citizen. That is according to Ojukwu, 2016. Who put it differently, that politics here is conceived as activities by which values such as wealth, status, and positions are distributed or allocated among members of a society. Another popular definition of politics is offered by Harold Lasswell, 1936, who defined politics as who get what, when, and how. This definition is broad in the sense that every society is basically concerned about who get what, when, and how, which essentially implies decision-making activities. What makes an individual get what he desires, when he desires it, and how he desires it is mostly power. Hence, politics is a power-structured relationship, an arrangement whereby one group of persons is controlled by another. Deduced from the above definitions is another conception that has been around for a long time and which has continued to inform the perception of politics as the exercise of power and influence. Hans Mogadans, in 1973, in his book Politics Among Nations, The Struggle for Power and Peace, asserts that politics is power. It is the art of influencing, manipulating, or controlling major groups to benefit some against the advantage of others. It is also the process by which power is acquired, maintained, or increased. Politics, according to Marx's school of thought, refers essentially to the struggle between social class to capture the exercise the power of state. Major proponent of this school of thought is Karl Marx. Class here is used to categorize people participating in the production of goods and services needed in any society. In order to produce, there is need for the means of production such as human and material resources. People are usually related to these factors as either owners or non-owners. Thus, ownership of means of production is the widely accepted factors for distinguishing between classes. In this view, Karl Marx posits that the relationship between the two classes is characterized typically by a conflict. These conflicts arise from the fact that the owners likely use their enormous wealth to take control of powers and use it to dominate, exploit, and rule non-owners, while the non-owners seek to seize power from the state to free themselves from dominations and exploitation. But since the class owners will always resist, the state of conflict is often the substance of politics. Similarly, Nwosu Nwafor-Ugwu, 1986, presents politics as consisting of struggles among actors pursuing conflicting desires on public issues. They assert that politics is the activities involving negotiations, arguments, discussions, applications of force, and persuasion by which an issue is agitated and settled. In summary, Politics can be explained in three ways. First, it attempts to discover the general principles, formations, and functionings of government. Then, secondly, it is concerned with people and the way in which they make decisions and the way these decisions are reached. And thirdly, politics is that part of the social sciences which treat the foundations of the state and the principles of government, governmental, social, and economic programs, international relations, organizations, and corporations. Politics goes beyond the activities of government, the political parties, and the politicians. Politics is a universal phenomenon. That is, it is present in all human organizations such as the family, trade unions, corporations, universities, etc. In all these organizations, politics is characterized by a struggle for power and influence, conflict, bargaining, reconciliation, resolutions, and consensus. Essentially, politics is a range of purposeful behavior through which we seek to live better than we do at the moment. It defines government, which in turn defines the lives of the citizens and the politics of the state. The study of politics seeks some basic questions such as why must people argue and struggle to acquire power? Why does political conflict occur and how it is resolved? Who has power and why? Why do people vote as they do? Why do political apathy, that is lack of interest, occur? Who participate in politics? How are political decisions made? Who rule the society or the state and how? The following are some of the major reasons for studying politics. The discipline enables one to take a balanced view on significant issues as well as learn how to evaluate and manage information. Politics is not just about politicians and formation of political parties, but also exposes us to study of political system, behaviors, values of other society, and other issues involving around man's environment, such as human rights, institutions, citizens, political orientations, and education. Politics helps us to make comparison between countries as there is fascinations and intellectual excitement in the study of foreign system and in the discovery of political way of life that are quite different from our own. Through the study of politics, we come to appreciate the ways in which government and political participants face similar problems and respond to them as well as the needs and demands of their citizens. The study section 2 will look into the political science as a science or art. Let us have the introduction of this study section 2. The question students of political science often ask is why natural or physical science such as physics, chemistry, or biology. Generally, science is this body of knowledge which is precise, systematic, and illustrative of general laws. It is a systematic study of a phenomenon through observation and experiment. Let us have the learning outcomes for this study section 2. As a student, when you have studied this study section, you should be able to explain certain things. Number one, you should be able to explain why and how the study of politics is scientific. And two, you should be able to understand the problems of scientific method. Then the descriptive studies involve the systematic gathering of practical and empirical data on political institutions and the political process in general. It is based on the experience or actual observation of relevant behavior or processes. It gives a factual account or description of a case, event, or situation. After the gathering and ordering of data in a meaningful way, to go on to analyze and evaluate their findings in an effort to explain what has happened and why. Analysis is the process by which a tangled component are separated and made clear in plain and embellished, that is, straightforward words. From there, however, theoretical generalizations are drawn and predictions are made. Therefore, the basic role of a political science is the analysis of socio-political issues, which will lead to generalizations, explanations, and offering hypotheses for further studies. Now look at the problems of the scientific method. There are variants of constraints limiting the applications of scientific method in the study of politics, ranging from the political scientist himself, the subject matter of the field, experimental complications, problem of predictability, precisions, changes, and value, among others. Sometimes, political scientists gather facts simply for their own sake rather than the purpose of leading the generalization. A political scientist observes man. Man also observed him, and this makes predictions difficult in political science research. It is not like the pure sciences, where the subject matter are mostly inanimate objects. The problem of experimentation implies that human behavior cannot be brought low or subjected to laboratory tests like that of the natural sciences. The society at large is the subject matter. Hence, political scenarios cannot be compressed to the level of laboratory tests. In addition, political scientists are faced with the problems of change and values. The behavior and values of man passes through a process of continuous change because values are relative to time and space. And lastly, furthermore, politics takes place in a social, cultural, and economic environment to which human beings react to different issues. Now, under these studies, we expected students to prepare very well and understand what has been taught under this studies.
You have done past